Okay, we are recording. So now for the good stuff. I'm going to introduce our presenter and our chef for today. So Harveer is born and raised in BC, she's a working professional in the financial industry, a spouse and a mother of two. She's a resident of Queensborough, New Westminster, and has been for the past 14 years and has been attending the Gurdwara Sahib, Sukh, Sagar for the past 3 decades. So I'm now going to turn it over to our chef to get us started.
Thanks, Rebecca. I don't know if I would call myself a chef, but for today, yeah, we'll go with that. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I am excited to be cooking with you. I just want to quickly just put in here right now before I start going over what we're making and the ingredients that I think there was somebody, Judy, that is cooking along. So the first thing I just want to mention is, Judy, if you want to wash your potatoes and put them on boil so they can start boiling and getting ready while we do everything else, I can give you a couple of minutes to go ahead and do that. If you want a quick way of making your potatoes, you can also use your microwave, and that might speed things up. Otherwise, you can get them on right now. So just a good rinse with 3 russet potatoes, and leave the peel on, and you can take it off even if that speeds it up even a little bit more, and just put them in water to boil. So I just wanted to get that out there because I know that's probably going to take the longest. So moving along. So I already did mention the potatoes, so I'm just using like 3 medium-sized potatoes, and what we're making today is what we call Aloo Parota, and what that is potato stuffed flatbread, basically, is the best description for it. So Aloo Parota is been in Punjab for ages now, and it's a really popular dish even up to today in mostly every Punjabi household. Gurdwara Sahibs that we make for breakfast or lunch, so very popular dish. I think me and myself, my kids, my family, we have this every weekend, so it's yes, very popular, and it's hearty, so it's nice. And after today, you'll find that when you start making this yourself, it's actually not too complicated. But today we'll go over everything in detail, so I'll try to explain it to my best ability. So what I want to go over at this point is just the ingredients. So we do have our 2 cups of whole wheat atta flour. And you can buy this at your local grocers, so even Walmart, Save-On, Superstore, and the most popular one that you'll probably see in stores is called Sher Atta. That's SHER. But any type of whole wheat flour is good. And then we just have about a cup of water to make our dough, and that's the ingredients for the dough. So we'll prepare that in a moment here. And for the stuffing itself, as I had mentioned earlier, it's the potatoes. So for this recipe today, I'm just using 3, but you can add or take away anything from all the ingredients as you wish, depending on how many people you want to make this for. So just 3 medium-sized potatoes, which you'll boil. And then we have half a red onion. We have fresh cilantro. I hope everybody can see the ingredients here. And that's just cilantro. We have 1 green chili. We have ajwain, which is a cumin seed. This is also available at your local grocers. Same with garam masala, it's called. So it's all on our ingredient list, and same thing, you can find this at your local grocers. We have about, so sorry, I think I forgot to mention how much. This was about a half a teaspoon of ajwain and half a teaspoon of garam masala. and a half a teaspoon of salt. So this is what I'm starting with, but as you're making it, you can adjust to your own taste. So some people like a lot of spice, you can add more spice or less. Same with salt and any other spices that I'm adding in today. So apart from the main ingredients that I just went over, we will need some oil or butter. So about 4 tablespoons is good. So I usually use oils when I'm frying. Olive oil, and the one I'm using today and usually use is grapeseed oil, and then butter. So you can also fry with butter if you want. I find that oils cause a less smoke, so it works a little better and a little bit of a healthier option. And then also you can have some butter ready for the end when you're gonna actually have your parota, that you can put some butter on there, and it's good to have in part of your ingredients. So to start, as you normally would, you would have your potatoes going and probably even have them done ahead of time, which I have done for myself. And then the next step would be preparing the dough. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna slowly show you. We're gonna be using our hands a lot. Just a warning on that. So you can wash your hands, and throughout the whole recipe, actually, you'll be using your hands and probably washing your hands quite a bit. So we got our flour here ready to go, and I'm just gonna start kneading the dough here. So slowly add water. Cold temperature water is probably best, and you're just gonna start mixing the dough. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna try to kind of keep going with your flour until it kind of comes together. Add water as needed. So at the end of this, you do want it to be kind of a soft ball. It should not be separated. So you're just gonna keep going. I probably do need some more water myself, so I will get it.
So Harveer, who taught you how to make this recipe?
I have this recipe I learned from my mom and my mother-in-law. They're both great cooks, so yeah. And now ever since husband and kids came into the picture, I've been doing it a lot more myself, but yeah, that's where I learned it from, and I'm sure it was the same for them. They learned it from their mother. It just kind of keeps going down generation by generation. My daughter, actually, she's going to be 10 next month. She already has an interest in helping me out and making this, and she loves eating them as well, so it's good. So as you can see, it's kind of starting to come together now. And I'll just show you here shortly. So yeah, it's come together more and more. And basically you want to get it to a point where, like I said, it's all together, and also it's not super hard or super soft where it can come off sticky. So yeah, basically that will be your end result of your dough until we come back to it. So right now it's kind of at the middle point, because what we're going to do at this point, you can tell that I can indent it easily. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cover it and let it sit. So it's always good to give it about like 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't matter, as long as it takes basically for you to get your stuffing prepared. Just let it sit and then we come back to it. Okay, I'm just gonna wash my hands quickly. And we will start preparing ourselves for the stuffing. So I'm just going to, at this point, chop up a few of the ingredients. And I'm gonna just get a mixing bowl so I can add to it. So we got our onion. And we want to finely chop this as well. So a red onion works best for this recipe, I find. But I have previously used green onions even, and that works great as well. So if you didn't have the red onions, you can go ahead and use green onions as well. So yeah, just really finely like that. And you can even do less or more. If you're a big onion fan, you can go ahead and add more or less, doesn't matter. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got that here, and I'm just gonna add it into the mixing bowl. So as you can see, it's pretty finely chopped. And then next we have our cilantro. And I'm just gonna kind of bunch it up together so I can finely chop it. If there's other herbs that you want to add, you can do that as well. I mean, there's really no restrictions on what flavors that you want to add in. Put that in here. And then next is our chili. So I'm using one here today, but you can use less or more. So I've just chopped one up already, and I'm going to add that in. Or you can even use red chili if you prefer that. And then the adjuvan, or masala, and our salt. We got that here. Any questions at this point, or we're good?
Looks like no questions, but I have a question. I always have questions.
Yeah.
More of a request, I guess, because I see some new faces. Wondering if you can tell them a little bit about the langar and just,
Yes.
yeah, even if you were to make, or if this was going to be on the menu, how many people would be how many hands on deck you would have? And
to make a recipe of this type, we would probably need, like if we were at the temple, usually for making even roti, parotas, anything like that, there's easy, like I would say between 5 and 10 helpers who would be preparing the food and making the food while langar is going on at the temple. At the temple, we usually have options on our menu. It's kind of put out like a buffet style. So anything from roti, from dal, which are lentils, sabjis, which are mixed vegetables. Those are a few of the dishes that are quite popular, and like shahi paneer, one of the dishes that I made a few months ago. Rice and then roti or parotas are always added on with some dain, which is like our homemade yogurt or buttermilk. So those are some of the things that are on the menu, and we do have a couple of head chefs to say cooks that lead the kitchen, but there's always people just part of the community that are helping making langar every day. So yeah, making it and also serving it. So it's pretty interesting and pretty good system that we have going. So yeah, for home, you're for this amount you can handle it on your own or a couple of you. So yeah, it's manageable. Okay, so just moving along here, my potatoes are done, so I'm gonna add those to the mixture that I have going on here. So I've already went ahead and peeled the potatoes, but when you're finished boiling your potatoes, you can give it a few minutes just to kind of cool down, but you do want to peel them if they're not already peeled. You do want to peel them and mash them while they're hot, because that's the best time that they, warm I should say, that's the best time they really come together and mash. So you can use a masher, or you can use a fork, whatever works for you, but you do want to mash them up so they're nice and smooth. So just mash them up. And you know what? Sometimes we're all working or have something going on and busy lives. You can even, if you were to plan ahead, you can even make this a day before. The mixture, the stuffing, you can put it in the fridge, and the next day it's ready to go. All you gotta do is make your dough. Even the dough itself, I usually have the dough made on a weekly basis anyways, and it sits in the fridge for a couple of days. It's fine. Like, so you can prepare this ahead of time. It doesn't need to be done right away on the spot kind of thing. So yeah, just a good mash there, just to make sure there's no lumps. It actually works really good if you do make it ahead of time. It's a little bit more manageable. So there we go. I'm just gonna now add this into my mixture. And now I am just gonna mix it all in, just kind of folding them, all the ingredients together like that. For whoever is cooking along with me, you will already be able to smell all the spices and the potato. It's a lot like mashed potatoes, just added spices to it, right? So yeah, we got that all mixed together. And so it kind of just looks like that. Okay, so a good mix of all the spices. And at this time, what you can do is taste test it. add any type of spice or ingredient that you feel like you could use a little bit more. Now, if you're tasting it and it seems a little bit too salty, that's okay. Because what happens is when you're stuffing it into the dough does take away a little bit of the salt taste. So a little bit more is actually perfect. Okay, so I am gonna put that to the side. And we'll just move along here. Okay, I'm just gonna figure this out. All right, so next couple of things that you just want to have on hand when you start making this is just some all-purpose flour works great. This is going to be for dusting and rolling the dough after. So you want to have a little bit of that. And then your oil for brushing and frying when you're ready to make the parota itself. And this is the rolling pin that I need. So I'm going to put that here. I usually like to use a flat spatula to flip it when I'm frying. So today, just for presentation purposes, I am using this griddle here. Normally for weekends, you know, is when I really make these. I use a tawa, so like just a flat fry pan, kind of that looks like this, and you can just make it on the stove top easily. But yeah, these work great. Any kind of any kind of frying pan of your choice, you're good. You're just pan frying them, so it doesn't have to be like super deep or anything like that. So now the dough, at this point, what you want to do is when it's rested now, is you just want to lightly oil your hands, and what you would do is knead it again, so it's with so it comes together, and then it's ready to go basically. And just for today, I do have one prepared already. So this is the dough after I oiled and just gave it like another couple of minutes of kneading with some oil, so it's kind of easier to cook with. Okay, so we have that ready to go, and we have some of the potatoes that are ready to go. So I prepared some earlier just so I know I can't touch the super hot ones that I just made. So I have let these rest as well. So we are ready to prepare our aloo parota. So we've done the dough, we've done the stuffing, we have our little gadgets ready here to go ahead and make the aloo parota. So I need a spoon here for the stuffing. And what I'll do actually is I'll show you maybe a couple of methods of stuffing the dough. And then it's really up to you how you want to end up stuffing them yourselves. One moment here. Once again, we're going to be using our hand. Right in there. I have my pan on medium heat. So when you're even making it on the stove, medium to low actually is best. So like if you have the time, the lower the temperature, the better the frying happens, and you're just not burning the parota. So low to medium, I should say. Okay, so I'm gonna take some of the dough now that I have prepared here. So as you can see in here, it's easily indentable. I don't even know if that's a word, but you can easily indent it. So it's not super hard, but you just want to take some of that into your hand now, and you're gonna form a little ball. So however you feel comfortable or would do this, but I'm just gonna kind of make it into a ball here. So it kind of just looks like that.
Is it quite elastic, Harveer? I was just watching you pull it out. Yeah.
The ball, yeah, like you'll
Yeah.
see, like it's kind of like it's got a little bit of a elastic feel to it,
Okay.
but like not super like tough to break or anything like that. So just medium. So yeah, so you got your little ball going here, and then once you have that balled up, rolled up, I should say, just put it into the flour, and then you just want to kind of flatten it. So you can use your hands to flatten it a bit before you roll it, or I just use my hands to kind of spin it around here, or yeah, easily done with your hands. And then you can either dust it as you do like this, or you can put it in there. So the first method I'm going to show you is using one dough piece, so one roti, I should say. And this is how we make roti, but what we're going to turn it into is a stuffed parota. So basically, you just want to kind of roll it out so it's 4 or 5 inches, and then you're going to take some of your stuffing now, and you're going to put that into the center of it. So a couple tablespoons or less is good, and just kind of get it into the center there. So what you can do here is one of the methods that you'll see that are popular are taking the whole piece all around, right? And then you just kind of twist it around. And then you can pinch off the excess and put it back into your dough. So you can do that option. And then you would just kind of dust that with flour. And then you can start rolling it out. And just kind of roll it out and put more flour on. And just kind of repeat yourself while you're doing that. And it's up to you how thick or thin you wanna go with it. So I usually don't make them too big, because then I find that the stuffing starts to squirt out. and so I do like to just keep it about that size. So you have this option here, right? Which we can put onto our pan. And what I like to do is kind of like to dust it off a little bit so there's not too much excess flour, and I just kind of use this kind of technique to do that, and then you put it on your pan. Okay, so we'll let that go here for a little bit while I prepare another method. So another one is that you make the same type of balls, you roll them, but you want to do them a little bit smaller in size this time. So here, I'll make 2.
I have a question.
Sure, so there's 2.
What if you tear the dough, and what if the filling does start spilling out? Can you pinch it back together?
Yeah, I've done that several times.
Okay.
So it's not a big deal. I'm usually just using my hands or taking extra flour, and I usually just kind of put it back together. And sometimes it looks like the map of India itself, but hey, doesn't matter. And then you just put it on there. You can use a spatula to pick it up and put it on. But yeah, no, I mean, you can still work with it. It's not an issue. Good question. So we got 2 smaller sizes this time, and I'm going to do the same thing, just flatten them out a bit. I'm just keeping an eye on that one, and it seems like it's okay right now, but I can go ahead and flip it once. Okay, so that's good. And then what I want to do here is just roll this out, not too big. And then same as the second one. And I'm going to take the first one here, And I'm gonna put in the stuffing. Once again, start in the middle. And then you can push to the sides. Yeah, you can just like, put in or take out as much as you think it's good for you to work with. And then I don't want to get too close to the edges, but at the same time, you can go ahead and do that. So just like that. And then what you want to do is you take your other piece and you just put it on top. You just kind of stretch it so it's closed all the way around. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is lightly dust it with flour again here. And I'm just going to flip it over at this point and do the same thing on this side. Okay. And then you just slowly start rolling it. And then you can flip and roll however you find easy. So this one is a little bit bigger in size. So it really just depends how big your dough balls are and just no right or wrong. So now I'm just gonna do the same thing here. Take off the excess flour and just put it on here. So now this one here seems like it's coming along nicely. So what I want to do, and I can move this over for us, is just start oiling it now. So I'm just taking my oil and start brushing it here.
Sorry, just another question.
Yes.
How do you know when to oil? Should it be browned at all, or what are you looking for?
Just when you start, yeah, sorry, I think I have this on the recipe as well. Just when you see it starting to flare up, bubble a little bit on its own, and a little bit of brown, go ahead and start oiling it at that point. Okay, so as you can see, it wasn't extremely brown, and it's not too cooked, is when I start adding the oil. And you can do more or less oil as you please. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of slightly tapping the ends. And I'm gonna just flip this one over as well. Perfect. So I think you can see that better now a little bit. And just kind of, even this one here, don't hesitate to start oiling it even earlier. It kind of actually just helps cook and fry the parotas a little bit better. So yeah, then basically these are the two methods that you can use to make the stuffed parota, flatbread. And then you just keep letting them go like that until they're a nice crisp golden brown, just like that. And you can see them bubbling and cooking. And you can probably even hear the sizzling, so that's a good indication that they're cooking nicely. So this is actually really nice. I never thought of it before, but I might start using this curdle on weekends more, and I can get two done rather than one. So it's great. So yeah, just continue on cooking, flipping, whatever you like, but pretty much that's what you're going to be doing until you finish your dough and you finish your stuffing. And now, just so you guys have an idea, what I've done here is I've used buttermilk to serve with my parotas. So you can just buy buttermilk, like I said, at your local grocers, nothing fancy. Or you can also use plain yogurt, is another one. Actually, now you actually even have the options of buying Dahy, so Dehy. sorry. Or you can make it like we make it homemade. But that's a whole other recipe on its own, so I won't get into that too much. So it can be served with buttermilk. I just have some onions and spices on the side. That's just an idea serving suggestion. But basically, yeah, you are ready to enjoy your aloo parota, and you can add it with some butter, or you can leave it and basically enjoy your meal.
You have a compliment here, says that looks so good, and I agree. It's from Shannon.
It smells really good. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I can't share this now with you, but I'm sure you'll all be able to cook it on your own time and enjoy it with your family and friends.
But
any questions?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, it is possible, but I think I do see one hand up here. I was going to say anyone can come to the temple, right?
Oh yes, yeah. It's we're open like all day long, and langar is served throughout the day, so everyone's welcome at any time.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one question here from Judy. She is wondering if gluten-free flour would be okay to replace with regular flour in the recipe.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Go ahead and use flour. I know even for the dough itself, there's a lot of recipes out there, and some of them use the gluten-free whole wheat, or they even use a little bit of mix. So they'll use a little bit of all-purpose, a little bit of whole wheat, corn flour is another one. But it really just comes down to how you want the texture to end up being. But yes, yeah, that's definitely an option, and you can go ahead and use that for sure.
Okay, I think Shannon has her hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, Shannon.
I just have a quick question. If someone's not a big fan of cilantro, do you have any other recommendations? I'm wondering about maybe spinach. Would spinach work instead?
Yeah, for sure. Spinach is a really good one, actually. My son does not like cilantro. I put it in the recipe here today, but he would also prefer not to add it in. So I mean, you don't even have to add anything in of that sort. But if you did, spinach is great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? It's good you asked that, because don't hesitate. I know with spinach, a lot of times you want to cook it before you add it to anything, or you can have it fresh. Just finely chop it. But the same thing goes with onions. There's a lot of people who actually want to saute their onions before they add it into the mixture. So if that's something that you prefer better than raw onion, you can go ahead and do that as well. Play with it. Yeah, it's like an open recipe. Like you can add or take away, or however you feel like, depending on your taste, right? This recipe here today is really basic and straightforward, but yes, you can go with other options for sure.
Okay, are there any other questions? Feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like, and if you do. I had one direct question about the name of the temple, which I did say, but if you'd like to share, if you'd like to say anything about it, that'd be great.
The name of the temple?
Yeah, and just a little bit about it. I'm thinking it would be a good opportunity to share that.
Yeah, I mean, Gurdwara Sukh has been around for a long time, actually, but not until recently we actually did renovations on the whole temple. So it's fairly newly renovated, a bigger kitchen. We have options there for people to cook for family events. We also have a kitchen based out of there for Guru Nanak kitchen as well. They do a lot of cooking and preparation for serving out in Vancouver, so that's also good. The Gurdwara is open every day, like I was saying, from morning to evening. There's food available at any time. There's a lot of events that go on at the temple that are for kids as well. We have Punjabi classes that go on, Kirtan, you know, any kind of Kirtan is any kind of instruments that we use for at the temple. We teach those as well. So we have instructors and teachers that are available during the week and even on weekends. So there's a lot of programs available for the youth, especially. And then even we have events. We have cupcake baking events that go on. We have knitting with grandma. So that's kind of cute. So we have a website, sorry, that has a page of events, and so definitely check it out. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and website available. So if you want any more information on that.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is stop the recording just so that if anyone, you know, wanted to share or say hi face to face, they can without having to worry about that. So
Yeah, for sure.
goodbye virtual land for those who will see the recording.